深い眠りは死と同じだ。いつものように悠々と目覚められるといいな、学者。
Eblana Dublin, I'm not calling her Necros, is the older twin sister of Loshini Dublin, also known as Operator Reed. She was first introduced in episode 9 and is the major antagonist in the side story event What the Firelight Casts. She's also the leader of Dublin, a pro-Taran nationalist movement seeking independence from Victoria. She is deceitful, cunning and ruthless, most likely due to her upbringing by the Earl of Warwick, a Taran ultra-nationalist. Or one could also say it is simply her nature from the very beginning. She is, by every available metric, the extreme polar opposite of her twin sister. Rose Island operators are advised to be very wary and cautious in regards to their cooperative relationship with her. Eblana possesses a unique art that manifests itself in her purple flames that allows her to manipulate life energy. With her flames, she is able to reanimate corpses of the dead. Her flames are a fascinating reminder to us that she has tamed death itself.
お前が私の誘いに対して沈黙を保とうが、話をそらそうが許そう。だが、決して私からは逃れられないと心得ておけ。お前は私の手中にある以上、その魂まで私のものだ。時間や生活、そして快楽は好きに貪ればいい。だが、夢忘れるな。お前の終点はいつまでも私のもとにある。
Eblana is the first 6-star Shaper caster in the game and the second one to be released after the 5-star caster Techno. Shaper casters are able to summon units that does not consume deployment slots and are able to target enemies blocked by the summons. Her first talent enables her to summon a lamenting servant once an enemy is defeated in her range, up to 3 servants at a time. If no more servants can be summoned, she instead will upgrade a servant which increases their block count by 1 and up to 100% HP and attack and 40% defense on Elite 2. Additionally, upgrading a servant will reset the servant's HP. Her second talent increases her and her summon's attack when attacking enemies with less than 50% HP up to 140% of her attack. With her second potential, the attack is increased to 145% when attacking enemies with less than 60% HP. Her first skill gives her servants the passive ability to inflict up to 450% of Eblana's attack as arts damage to all nearby enemies when a servant is summoned or upgraded. The active effect of her skill is that she is able to resummon all her servants immediately. If there is no servants in the field, she is able to summon one servant. This does not only resets her servant's HP but also triggers the servant's AoE burst passive. This skill is good when facing a lot of enemies as she can annihilate them using the burst damage. This makes Eblana a good choice when you want to hold down a lane. Her second skill inflicts sleep to up to 2 enemies in her range and deals 160% of her damage as arts damage every 0.5 seconds in a 12-second duration. When an enemy is defeated during skill activation, she can summon an additional 2 servants, meaning when defeating an enemy for the first time, she will summon a servant from her first talent and an additional 2 servants from her skill. This skill makes it far easier for her to summon and upgrade all her servants in a short amount of time. The problem with this skill is that it doesn't really provide additional gimmicks to her servants and instead relies on her damage to be able to kill enemies within the skill duration. Inflicting sleep on enemies also means that only Eblana is able to damage the enemies as the sleep debuff prevents enemies from being targeted by your operators. Although her damage is quite good here, there are far better options to deal with enemies with high HP, such as Logos. And lastly, her skill tree passive ability changes one of her servants to a special form that has a far better stats than the other servants. This servant can be upgraded up to 6 times. Each upgrade gives an additional 80% HP and attack and 40% defense. On the 3rd and 6th upgrade, the servant gains 1 additional block count and skill range. This servant also has its own auto skill that is not tied to Eblana's. The active part of the skill deals 800% of her attack as arts damage to all enemies in range and sacrifices her servant to upgrade the special servant and restore 20% of its max HP for 3 times per skill activation on Mastery 3. Overall, this is definitely her best skill and the one I recommend the most for masteries, with the first skill being the second best option. Despite Eblana definitely being a good unit to have, I cannot dismiss the flaws that she has thanks to her summoning gimmicks. Eblana does not fit well into a full team as her gimmick requires at least 3 ground tiles in a range to be free for her to summon her servants, making her placements somewhat difficult. When taking into account map terrains and operator placements, general players may struggle to play around her summoning mechanics. She also needs a steady amount of weak mob enemies to constantly summon her servants. Additionally, some players might want to save their randoms for upcoming banners that, in my opinion, is far better than Eblana's. All in all, I give Eblana's character an 8.5 out of 10 and her kit a solid 7 out of 10. A very intimidating character with a kit that is equally interesting with a few caveats here and there. I personally would definitely pull for her because of her skin alone, cause goddamn look at those. But it is perfectly fine to skip her considering the characters that we will get later on. With all that said, thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you think I deserve it, and this has been Skybird signing off.
どうすればお前は私に恭順する？懇願すればいいか？それとも声を上げて叱責してほしいか？誰にも見せたことのない一面を見せれば満足か？あるいは死を支配する力をお前の手に委ねれば足りるか？お前の欲するものであればすべてくれて。やるわけがないだろう。話をするなら、まずはお前が私のものとなってからだ。